disappointed in our offensive output, certainly, and don't want to take anything away from Texas. Obviously, they played highly motivated defensively. It's a response league, and they responded based off their past performance better than we did. And we just got to get back to the drawing board and figure out how to play more consistently well on the offensive end.
What happened late? You get up the lead, and then offense kind of doesn't deliver there late. So what you see late?
Well, it wasn't just late.
Right.
Our offense didn't deliver pretty much most of the night. We had a small segment there where we got it going and made some shots, but really it was our defense just holding the line for the most part. But too many times, even when we did score, our transition defense wasn't great. And in that moment, it was a critical moment in the game. We make a three, which I think ends up being our last basket, and we give it right back in transition on a foul, which again stops your momentum, takes the energy out of your crowd, puts them at the line, gives them a chance to reset their defense. And we just have to be better in those situations. So we'll get back to work and address that and be better the next time out.
How do you fix the offensive struggles?
We struggled today. We haven't. I mean, I think there's a little bit of a, and it is probably well deserved. We haven't been the Golden State Warriors in my 6 years as a head coach, but we're better offensively than we've been. People don't want to probably accept that because they're nights like this that still show up. What I always like to do is, there's a reason we didn't play well, and it's because Texas made us not play well. So credit to them. What we need to do is keep our best guys on the court. Certainly didn't help not having Bryson Avery for most of the first half. But it's not just because they score, it's because they draw attention and now other guys get easy baskets. And so Caleb ends up with a really good stat line, but had to work for all of it. We didn't get a whole lot of easy baskets, and that's where we got to work to get more easy baskets. But our offense is better, and I don't want to disregard the question because, again, I'm not defending 46 points in here. I'm just telling you that our offense is better than it has been. Today's more of an anomaly. I mean, we've been pretty close to 70 points. I mean, we just went on the road and had a pretty good scoring game against one of the best teams in the country on their floor. So we're capable. It's just a matter of mental toughness, ability to execute, and then as a coach, got to continue to put the right guys in position to get shots.
You had been a lot better from the foul line. Is that a focus deal? What went into that?
Yeah, I mean, to me, free throws is about toughness. I mean, I don't. We're a better free throw shooting team certainly than we showed. We've had these games before, and unfortunately, they kind of kill your rhythm, especially when it's guys who you're used to seeing them. You kind of turn your back and start thinking about what's next and not worrying about having a block, trying to figure out a way to get a rebound on a free throw. And so I'm confident that those same guys can step to the line and make them, and the next time they're out there. It's just that today was one of those days that didn't go in.
Well, Mike, what was going on with Texas defense the other night against K-State compared to what they were doing today? Now, they gave up 70 more points the other night than they gave up today.
I mean, I don't know if you watched the game, but both teams were pretty good rhythm offensively. They scored 103 also. And usually you see that in that next level league where those scores happen. But both teams got a really good rhythm, shot a high percentage. And so that's what's frustrating is, we saw a team score 103 points on their home court, and we're bound and determined not to be in position to even think about losing a game like that, because that's not who we are. And to hold them under 60 when they scored 60 in their last half of basketball coming in, you feel like you should give yourself a much better chance to win today's game than others. But again, I always like to think, there's a reason. There's two teams playing, and sometimes you give the other team credit for being better than you were. K-State was better than Texas on Tuesday. Texas was better than Oklahoma State today.
Mike, what were they doing that to Bryce that really shut him down and took him out of the game there?
Again, I think part of it, the first half, he's in and out. You know, we're trying to keep him in rhythm. They were really physical with him, like most teams will be, face guarding, using their athleticism and length to really disrupt his rhythm on catches and shot attempts. But those things happen, and you got to find a way to overcome it, get more, better looks. I thought he passed up a couple ones early, trying to create when he had gotten away from doing that. You'll hear in the last month or so, being comfortable shooting more catch and shoot threes. For a guy who's shooting as well as he has been, to take only 2 threes, it's probably a sign that he wasn't really looking for the right kind of shots going into the game.
Were you happy with defensively, no Musa, but you guys get 12 blocked shots? You know, Caleb really stepped up there, got 6 of them. What did you think of how that looked without Musa today?
Well, it looks like the result is we need him. The result says we need Musa, right? The numbers sometimes can tell that there's some things you can do well with him out of there. We played with great effort. It wasn't a lack of effort. Our guys, it wasn't like we played uninspired. We just didn't execute, and we didn't play with the level of toughness, specifically on the offensive end, when it comes to having 18 turnovers and going 12 for 21 from the free throw line, that you need to win in this league. And I think with a lot of noise around that program, people forget still a top 10 team in the country. A team that coming into the season is expected to compete for a national championship. And I think, with a little bit better offensive execution, we can put ourselves in maybe a more close to a 1-possession game. And we had the lead with 8 minutes to go. So we're getting close, but close isn't good enough in this league. You got to get the job done, and we did today.
And Caleb, here you said the other day, sometimes he may not realize how good he can be and what you need out of him. You didn't win, but when you did get that run, he was the key of getting that run and getting the lead.
Yeah. I want to be careful because I don't want this to be critical, because I'm never critical personally of the kids, but this was his 102nd game. We should expect this from him at this point. It shouldn't be, oh, we got a good performance. No, we should come in surprised when he doesn't play well, as opposed to the other way around. And I love him. He's like a son to me. I've been with him all 102 of those games. He's going to be a big part of what we do moving forward. But it's time that he starts to do it every day. And if he does, it's not only good for us, it's good for him. Because I've said it before, that kid can have a career playing basketball. He can make money he can do what most of these kids want to do, is make a living playing a game. But it's hard when you're surprised to say, well, you got a good performance out of him today. So my message to him is, let's come back and do it again on Tuesday.
Do you feel like you're getting closer to getting that consistency out of him?
It's a great question. I'm always optimistic. It's kind of my natural disposition anyway. And I know what he's capable of. There's a reason we try to play through him almost every game. It's just sometimes it goes the way we hope it would, and sometimes it doesn't. And I'm glad that the last 2 games it has, and hopefully with 2 consecutive games we can build on that and maybe go get a 3rd one.
What's he saying when you have those conversations with him, like when you guys are talking?
You know what? Sometimes the kid's never been told he can be great, and so it's a hard time believing you. And even though you get the performance, there's always that level of doubt that maybe he's just trying to fool me, and I'm not trying to fool him. I don't kid around with these guys. I tell them truly how I feel, and I think he's maybe the best offensive post player, certainly that I've ever coached. But certainly if you ask, or you look around to the offensive players in the country from the post position, I'm not sure how many I would take over him nationally. I watched him score against 7-footers at UConn. I've watched him have 22 and 12 as a freshman against this Texas team when he didn't know anything about college basketball. And so I think it's just a matter of accepting it and owning it and being okay when it doesn't go well. And sometimes the expectations feel like pressure. And I think that's part of it with him, is don't necessarily put it on him, just let me do it kind of underground a little bit. But he's a great player. I knew he was going to be a great player when I recruited him in high school because he was coached by a great coach. He had a work ethic. He had a joy for the game. But sometimes at this level, you get to where it feels like more than you necessarily want it to be because it's not just joyful all the time. It's hard. Your coach is on you. Your teammates are on you. People sometimes want to see it all the time. And he's getting close. He's got it in him, and he's going to be a big part of what we do moving forward.
You've been with him 102 games. Out of curiosity, have you noticed or have you got a defining opinion on whether he responds better to criticism or praise? I mean, or are you still trying to find that balance?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, again, I want to keep it about the game and not make it about the kid. But the
Right.
truth is we try everything. And it's not unique to him, right? So I want to be careful that this doesn't become about Caleb Boone because certainly he played well today. Let's get that on the table. But at the same time, if we can get what we got from him today, 80% of the time versus closer to 50, then this team can go to a whole different level. But to your question, we've tried everything.
How do you kind of step back and evaluate today's performance? You guys obviously don't have Musa. Do you put much stock into today, knowing that it's only January and that you'll see this team again?
I put a lot of stock in every game. I always have the big picture in mind. I don't assume that when it comes to the end of the season that I know a lot of people talk about teams getting credit for not playing with their best guys one way or the other. I'm not taking that chance. We need to do everything we can to make it undoubtable that we are one of the best teams because I just don't, I've got enough history here to not assume that that'll be taken into account at the end. We need to get him healthier and closer to ready. He's getting there. The truth is the kid wanted to play. He's hurting now because he felt like he could have helped us. But my job is to make sure long term, for not only our team, but for him, that this doesn't become about today. And he's got a future in basketball also. So we can't mortgage that off, in hopes that we can get the job done. We just weren't good enough. And when we get him back, we need to be able to be better when he's back.
Do you have a timeline at all for him?
You guys know me well enough. I don't do that. We've got athletic trainers and doctors. I don't get into projections and predictions. Whatever the doctors and our trainers tell me is the next step is what we'll do. But it was hard to plan today because he hadn't practiced. So we'll see tomorrow if he can go, and then Monday, and then obviously we're on the road. And if he's ready, he'll play. And if he's not, then he won't.
You've had 3 games in a week, and Q has got more and more time as the week's gone on. What have you kind of seen his growth in just the last week alone?
Yeah, he played like a freshman today, in all honesty. The effort was there, just had some boneheaded, ill-advised decisions there, certain crucial moments too. But that's part of it. I talk about it all the time, the process of becoming a good player who understands the gravity of the game and the moment. And today was the first time that he was in there in crunch time in a game like this where it's on the line. And so it's a great learning opportunity for him and something he'll be better for as we move forward. One thing about Q is winning's a big deal to him. He's won a lot of places in his career. And this loss is going to hurt because I know he's one of our guys in the locker room that's going to look in the mirror and say there's a couple possessions here or there that I could have made a difference in.
When you have these close games, is it against really good teams? Is it difficult to balance, a little bit of being proud of a guy's effort, especially being down one of your key players, but also just the frustration of being so close?
I think we're a good team. I really do. And so I don't play this thing to come close. With all due respect to Texas, and they're really talented. I expect to win, and I hope our fans expect to win. I hope they're hurting. I hope our players are hurting. Because this is what you work for. So the whole we came close, good team, the excuse part, lost on me. We compete and prepare to win. So we just didn't get the job done today.
You mentioned some of the outside noises going on in Texas right now, with the news piece coming out. As a as a coach, do you get concerned playing a team? Because sometimes that rallies a team, sometimes that kind of folds them, but it makes them a little bit more quickly. You think that played at all today?
I mean, it's a hard job to do when you focus on your own guys. I got 15 guys in the locker room, a staff, you know, and a league full of really talented players, really good coaches. And so to try to get into the outside stuff that's unrelated to getting our team prepared, I just can't really put my mind there. I'm not good enough to focus on what's going on in their locker room and get my team prepared. So I really try to just put all our energy into defending Marcus Carr, trying to keep Dylan Mitchell off the glass, you know, not trying to stop Tyrese Hunter from getting steals, and then trying to figure out how to score against a really good defensive team, which obviously we didn't do a very good job of today. But my thoughts about what else is going on, I haven't given literally 1 second of a thought to any of that.
Anything else for Coach?